In today's Whiteboard Leadership moment, we're going to talk about another leadership lid, and that's the lid of communication. Communication is one of the most essential, important, and neglected parts of ministry. We have a lot of pastors out there and leaders out there who think that they are so clear and so compelling they can say something once and everyone hears it, remembers it, and will do it. And it's simply not true. So what I want to do today is help you figure out how to break through that leadership lid of communication with a few ideas. The first one is to recognize that we have to have the right attitude, the right message, the right time, and the right way. We have to have the right attitude. People don't like guilt, shame, and fear. They don't like crisis. They don't like those kind of things. Those things work once, but they don't work all the time. What's the right attitude and the right message? A message of positivity, a message of what God is doing, and make sure that we're talking about our dependence upon God and what He's trying to accomplish in our lives. The right time. If you have too many messages cascading, too many messages coming through, then the timing may not be right. Or people may question why now, and you haven't got the answer for that. And it could be something that's an impulse rather than something that God is asking us to do. So make sure you have the right time and the right way. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. It has to have the right content. You want to answer all sorts of questions. Another Whiteboard Leadership moment, I talked about 5 questions you have to ask with vision. Why can't we stay here? Why go there? Why now? How will we get there? And what's my role? But here's some other questions. So what is it? What are we talking about here? Why are we talking about this? And then there's the why now. How are we going to get there is one we mentioned before. When do we expect to be accomplished, or when do we start? And who's involved in this? Just answer the who, what, where, when, why, and how kind of questions. Make sure you're communicating well on those things. And then consider having one message over a long time and doing it in multiple ways. Sometimes it's a tiered communication where it's one person going to this group and giving the message, and going to that group and giving the message, and going to that group, and you're tiering it out. Sometimes it's cascading. It's just overflowing from one to another. You've got one message that's been told to leadership, and leadership sharing it with the next group, and sharing it with the next group. But do it multiple ways. Don't just do it one way. When communication gets stuck in one mode, cascading, tiered, a large group, or whatever, it always gets stuck in those things, and it becomes part of the white noise of ministry. So consider doing a three-way strategy. Maybe you'll do a message to the large group on the weekend, to the small groups, to the small group leader, and to individuals one-on-one. Maybe you'll have it verbally done, you'll have it written, and you'll have it relational connection-wise, and you'll do it that way. But consider some sort of three-way communication so that you make sure that every person gets a touch, a verbal touch, a visual touch, and a personal touch in their communication. And then finally, follow up with progress, celebration, and thank you. A lot of times we communicate things and needs in the life of the church, and the congregation steps up in great ways, but we don't say anything about it. We don't celebrate. Churches are terrible at celebrating things. Any kind of movement in the life of the church should be celebrated. Any kind of thing that God has done should be something that we talk about and thank the congregation for. And when we're hitting milestones, maybe it's a building campaign or a ministry growth or the church growth or a new start of ministry that just was unveiled 6 months ago, you want to have conversation with the congregation over and over so they know that, hey, your participation and your prayer matters and it makes a difference. Choose to over-communicate. In fact, I call it the rolling eye factor. When leadership starts to roll their eyes, you're saying that again, it means that finally, maybe the congregation is finally hearing it for the first time, and they may get on board because leadership is always way ahead in the communication lines. And so we have to figure out how to get those people who are the farthest away to hear the message that we're trying to communicate. I hope you enjoy this time. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.